Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Adopted Mom Podcast, the Monday edition, which is usually a follow-up to the episode from that week. And this week we had a lot of people on one episode. So uh, instead of assaulting your computer screen with six of us trying to chat with you, all on screen, I have just one of us, which is the other Alex. So we're not trying to make it confusing or anything. Just two Alexes chatting with you. So, hey, how's it going, Alex
Hey.
Autry?
Good. How are you?
Hanging in there, kid
Oh,
life.
as you
And
know, Mondays.
yeah, well, and you homeschool your kids like a
Yes,
crazy
it has been a
person.
day. It has been some other kind of thing.
Oh my gosh. So how does it feel to have your podcast episode released into the world?
Well, so to be honest, related to homeschooling and also it being some other kind of day, have not listened to the episode yet, but I'm sure it's wonderful.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. It's just some people get squirmy even with it just being released, knowing that it's out there. But it
I
was
haven't
great.
thought
You
about the
shouldn't
fact that
be.
other people might have listened to it. So yeah, that's a thing.
It is a thing, like a few hundred of them. So get excited.
Hey, wow.
That's awesome. So yeah, you and Garrett and the Monties were also on the show, which she's the first repeat guest. So she was not able to make it on tonight, but I do want to hear a little bit about you and Garrett's story, just for those of us those of listeners who have not heard your story or know why you are qualified to be on the Adoptive Mom podcast.
Well, I guess I made it because of being an adoptive mom. So
Easiest
I
way.
am a pretty new adoptive mom. We adopted our boys. They've been with us for a year. We adopted them about 6 months ago. Before that, we were foster parents for a year and a half or so. So our boys are currently 7, 5, and 4. They're biological brothers. So we adopted them all at once. So there it is. And now, kind of all at once, we started homeschooling, and here we are.
Yeah. And for those of the listeners who don't know you, how many biological children do you have again?
We have 0. It is just the boys,
Yeah.
and we were married for we went to a call panel this week and realized that we had been married for about 3 months before we started our call training to become foster parents.
Yeah.
So we are not super qualified on marriage or parenting, but we're new at it. So.
Yeah. No, I wanted to ask that because it's so crazy. You went from 0 to 3 like immediately, which is really cool. And ours wasn't immediately, but within a couple years we went from 0 to 4, which is still crazy, but 0 to 3 immediately is insane. And you fostered before that. But you touched on a note just now about how you haven't been married for that long and you didn't feel qualified to talk about marriage or parenting, but that's exactly why I wanted you guys to be on the podcast, as well as the Monties and us, because we're in the thick of it. I think that when I asked both of you, you both gave me the same answer, and you're like, well, we're not very we're not experts or anything. I was like, that's exactly the reason, because none of us are experts. We're all in the thick of it. We're all just trying to figure this out, both parenting and marriage. And a lot of people wait to adopt because they don't feel like they're ready, and we're all insane. And we were like, you know what, let's just do it all at once.
That's the truth. We are insane. I actually had that conversation with another couple at a call training this weekend. They were asking, how do you know that you're ready to foster or to adopt? And we were like, Garrett and I were like, if you think you're ready, then you're not ready. But if you think you are not ready, then probably go for it. Because I don't think you can ever know what's going to happen. So if you go into it feeling like I've got this because I'm prepared, then that's going to be a problem.
Absolutely. And I think that for a lot of us, it's a little bit of both. We feel completely unprepared as a whole, but then in some ways you're like, oh, I've got this in this area, like, oh, trauma, sure, that's going to be hard, but I can handle it. And then it slaps you in the face.
Yes, exactly.
It humbles us a little bit. So getting into that a little bit. So we recorded at Red Barn Studio, which I want to give a shout out to them because they're awesome. They're in Springdale, Arkansas, but Jason Miller, who runs Red Barn, works with people all over the country who will come in and work with them. And we took some fun pictures while we were there of our group. I'm going to show those really quickly. And yeah, I don't know about you, but I had a lot of fun. It was really cool to feel super professional sitting in a studio and recording.
Studio was awesome. Felt fancy.
Yeah, was it a little crazy for you guys, or were you
Yeah,
super
it was
comfortable?
cool. I mean, I was really impressed with the setup. It's just like, oh, here's my house, and then in the back room of my house, here's an entire professional recording studio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a whole
exactly.
separate building. Yeah, it was crazy. So there's well, I'm pointing at the picture, but so you can see the back of my head there, and then Alex and her husband Garrett are right across, and then if you look to my left, there's the Monties, and then my husband Brian, who was multitasking, taking pictures and talking, and you know, generally being insane, which he is. But so some of the stuff we talked about, I asked everyone to just tell a funny story about a fight that we've had, and you guys' was really funny. And then we talked about just how we've seen our partners grow, how our marriage has grown, some of the obstacles that we face. What was one of the biggest things that you and Garrett took away from our conversation?
Yeah, I definitely think for us, being stretched to see the world and other people in different ways also helps us to see each other in different ways. So one of the things that we have thought a lot about and talked a lot about is the concept that situations are not black and white and people are not good or bad. And so understanding, especially when it comes to like our kids' birth families, and we're dealing with DCFS and through foster care and through situations with our kids, understanding that people's motives are not black and white and people's actions, we just can't judge. And so I think that helps us to be more understanding with each other as we're learning to be more understanding with other people, that everybody's coming from somewhere different. How it appears and how it feels to us isn't necessarily how it appears and feels to somebody else. So being able to understand each other better through that also.
Absolutely. And learning to hold each other with the same amount of grace that we give ourselves. You know, we're learning through this process. And I think a lot of times we want our spouse or our husbands, since we're both the wives in this situation, but we want our husbands to have it all together while we figure it out over here. And learning to balance that while they're figuring out the exact same thing that you are in their own way is so hard. And
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
definitely a learning curve, but it's something that we all have to overcome. And whenever I posted this, it hit me that, you know, marriage is already so hard without the added stress of kids from different backgrounds and with entire lives that you have not been a part of. And just learning to balance that is crazy. And I think that we can only do those things with God's help, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Did we show both of the photos? I think we did, right? We did. Okay. I couldn't see. I'm very sorry to everyone watching this, but I'm trying to learn how to do all this podcasting high tech stuff, and my husband Brian is the expert, and I am not. But if you guys have any questions for Alex, totally drop them in the comments. We'll both, or for Michelle or Scott or Garrett or Brian or anyone that was on the episode, if you guys have any follow-up questions or comments, drop them in the comments, and we can monitor those going forward when you watch this on the replay, and that'll be great. I also wanted to let you guys know that as a special offer, if you have any recording needs, Red Barn Studio for my listeners is offering 15% off for your recording needs, which is super awesome. So reach out to me or reach out to Jason. I'm going to tag him in the comments as well, him and Red Barn Studio. But that's pretty awesome. 15% off any of your recording needs. And like I said, you do not have to be local. That is for anyone. But yeah, Alex, did you have any other comments or any other takeaways that you thought were really cool or noteworthy?
I definitely think it was just fun, just like getting in a room with other young adoptive parents and talking about like how a lot of the issues that we've gone through have been similar, and a lot of the same conversations have taken place, like between Garrett and I, and between Scott and Michaela, and just getting together with other people and talking about those things was really cool. And so I think that's really important. I know at the end we all kind of talked about how having people is really important, and I know you talk about this pretty much every podcast. Somebody says having people is really important, but if you haven't heard it yet, having people is really important.
Absolutely. And I asked everyone what their resource was. And when I ask that, I never know what I'm going to get. Some people talk about a book. Some people talk about, um, a specific counselor or website or something like that. But I think every single one of us had some kind of relational resource that we brought to the table, which is amazing because I think that that's going to be the most important one. I mean, books are great in some ways, but having people in your lives that have walked the same path that you can text or you can call that understand what you're going through is completely necessary. Not even just like a good idea or
Yeah.
an added bonus, but I don't think we could do this without each other, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And it's really fun. And that's actually, if you're, like I said, Michelle couldn't be here tonight, but her episode in season 1 was all about friendships and adoptions and reaching outside of our own home. Because I think that our instinct, or maybe not instinct, but our just what we go toward whenever we're freaking out or we're stressed is just kind of withdraw within and take care of our little circle first. And often Jesus asks us to not do that. He asks us to reach outside and let other people in, even when it's not comfortable. So that's an awesome point.
And we get so wrapped up in our own problems that we forget that actually this problem isn't the biggest problem it's not even the entire problem the only problem in the entire world. And so getting in other people's lives and just like knowing what other people have going on and remembering that other people have issues too. It's not just us, makes our problem seem more manageable and more normal size when we realize other people also have things that they think are like the worst things, but it's okay. They're all things.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and having couple friends like that helps your marriage too, because I think that having like girl time where you can build each other up and talk about what you're struggling with and the other person gets it, and then the guys are doing that at the same time, and then you can come back together and feel solidarity in different ways and build each other up. But yeah, absolutely. It's learning that other people are in the same boat and not feeling so crazy, even though what we're doing is so crazy.
Yeah. And I always find I have more empathy for somebody else's spouse who I'm listening to when my friends describe what's going on. And I feel like I find more empathy for her spouse. And then I realize, wait, we've had this same argument, but I didn't really think about it from his point of view. But now that I'm hearing it from somebody else, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. The kids' soccer argument, right?
Oh my gosh. Soccer season is over. You will be glad to know. We are all glad.
Oh, that is so funny. I'm still wondering which one of you was the more passionate one, the one that was...
Oh, definitely not me. Definitely not me. Look, 9 a.m. Do you know how warm it has been at 9 a.m. on Saturdays in Rogers, Arkansas this spring? It's been like 43 degrees. Why do we do this? I'm not trying.
If you're running around in shorts.
Oh, man. I'm standing out there like, why? How did I get...
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to my kids being of age for sports.
Hey, if they love it, it's great. But if we're all sitting there like, why? Then why?
Yeah. Well, and especially, I don't know if your youngest plays, but I can't imagine having like trying to watch the game and manage other little kids. Oh my gosh. And being cold.
Yeah, don't get me started. Postpone it as long as possible. Yeah.
When you were telling that story, I was sitting here like, which one was the one freaking out about the game?
I got that advice. Postpone it as long as possible from a more experienced parent. And I thought, oh no, soccer's going to be so fun. We should totally do this. Ignore the advice. Now I'm giving the advice. Just if they're not asking, then don't bring it up.
I will take that advice and run with it. So
when you get there, like, it'll be so cute though. Just buy the shin guards and put them in the shin guards and take a picture and then go back inside. You just don't sign up.
Just play in the backyard, have your husband wear
cute, but yeah.
Oh, I love it. That is so funny. So yeah, I wanted to remind everyone before we jump off here, if you have any questions for anyone that was on our marriage panel, drop them in the comments. We'll monitor it for the replay viewers. And I want to remind you guys again about our awesome Red Barn Studio discount, that if you are an AMP listener, you get 15% off, any of your recording needs. And like I said, I will tag Jason and Red Barn Studio in the comments so you can reach out to get that discount from there. And please don't forget to join me again on Thursday night. We're going to be doing part 3 of our trauma series with Rebecca Price, chatting about adoption and trauma and how it completely throws us for a loop and how we can I mean, we can overcome it, but maybe get through it with fewer gray hairs. I don't know. Well, we're going to figure this out together. But thank you so much, Alex, for joining us. And if you haven't listened already, definitely listen to this week's episode. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.